So, but it's still nice to plan something and take initiative and plan romantic dates. So let's say you read, picnics can be a really nice thing, romantic thing where you just go out, and then you might be reading, okay, just buy the expensive bottle of champagne, buy this pre-cooked meal from this luxury deli or whatever, and then buy the picnic basket with the cutlery and the traditional checkered tablecloth, so everything is perfect, and then show up at her door and take her to the picnic at some big estate or somewhere where you pay entrance fee, and then it'll be the most wonderful date she'll ever remember. No, that's just way too much effort. Again, just keep it simple. It's still as romantic or even more romantic if you just say, okay, it's wonderful day outside, let's go and have a picnic. And then you find some blanket of some kind at home, and think about which park you can go to, and you can plan that together. Maybe drive somewhere, if like in your city there's a lot of bugs and stuff, maybe if you drive higher up into the mountains or whatever, there's fresher air, there's less bugs. And then just go to the grocery store together and pick out the cheeses, meat, bread that you want to eat during the picnic. Maybe a bottle of wine if you're into that. And that's such a sensual experience where you have that anticipation, you do something together, then you ask each other, oh, do you like this cheese or do you prefer this cheese? And that's a kind of a conversation that often doesn't happen enough in a relationship between a neurotypical woman and an Aspie, where it's like, okay, where you really find out each other's wants, likes, needs. So you go through the grocery store, oh, do you like this kind of meat? Oh, what do you think about this wine? Should we pick a sweeter wine or a more, drier wine or white wine? So you have this wonderful experience in the grocery store together, and that anticipation of taste, smell, all that, and you drive out there and you find a good spot and spread out a blanket and eat together. And in fact, that's one of the more romantic dates I've ever had, and it was planned by a neurotypical guy who actually had a PhD in psychiatry, and he dealt with women on a daily basis, and he was wonderful at just dating, because he had a down pitch perfect, except in some other ways where it just didn't work for me, but when it came to knowing what to do, how to plan nice dates that were not overpowering and these big formal gestures, but that were genuinely romantic and evoked feeling and sensory experience, he was really good at that. And in fact, he took me to another date at the batting cages, and I really love that, because I had not held a baseball bat in a long time, and it was so fun to try to hit the balls and get that satisfaction if I would hit the ball just right and ping. And it was sexy with him showing me how to hold the bat. And then at the end of the date, he gave me like this baseball as a keepsake, and that can be a very romantic thing too, to give your date. If a date goes really well, it's really lovely. If there's a chance to give her like a little worthless or almost worthless item that she can remember the date by. In fact, some other time a guy gave me like a little yo-yo that he had in his car. It had some promotional writing on it, and that's always lovely. It was on my desk for a long time, and make me remember that date. All right, so now to the most difficult part of this video, which is when to say I love you. And people there are so different, because some people grow in households where people tell I love you to each other, as a hello, goodbye, before they hang up the phone. And a person who grows up in a household like this might want to hear I love you all the time, to know it's a loving relationship. And then there are other people who in their life have rarely used or heard the phrase, and it might be something deeply, deeply meaningful that is only said during those very deep emotional moments of perfect togetherness. And with a person like that, if you start throwing around it, I love you very often, that could rub them really the wrong way. So I thought for a long time how to give advice that might work in most cases. And of course it's a generational thing too, because I think in younger generations it's more casual. People get physically intimate and they don't say I love you to each other, and girls don't mind it. And in my generation it's more okay, yeah, if you're making love, you really want to be able to say I love you and hear it back from your guy. I think most women would feel that way. So one potential approach would be to just don't say it until you're physically intimate. There are other ways to express that you have feelings for your girl, like I had so much fun during this date, I'm already looking forward to the next one, something like that. And yeah, once you do sleep together or sleep with each other, I would say, don't say it during sex, and maybe don't even say it right after, because again, it's such a deep phrase. You don't want to say it. You want to pick when you say it the first time carefully. And she might feel, oh, is he just only saying this because he feels he has to now that we're sleeping with each other. So I think a safe way again would be to, let's say you just made love, you sit in the kitchen and have like water, just to express it some other way, saying like, oh, this was just really wonderful, I love this so much. And then you could consider maybe saying it right as you leave, or when she leaves, just give her that deep kiss and then say I love you, bye. And then it's almost like it's so casual that it's almost like you take her by surprise. So if she doesn't say it back, she doesn't have to feel so awkward about it, because if right after making love you sit there at the kitchen table and say I love you, and if she's maybe the person who even after one lovemaking is still not comfortable to say it, then she's almost forced to say it and might not like it. But with this approach, she might then shout after you, oh, I love you too, and then the ice is broken. And then if she's the kind of person who loves to say it, she might text you that very evening, oh, I love you, good night. And then you text her back, I love you too, good night. And then you know that she likes to say it often. So then next time it's your turn, maybe the next day, and maybe if you talk to her or next time you meet her, you can say I love you, even either during the date, if there's like the perfect moment that's romantic, you're looking out at the lake or whatever, or you say it as you leave. But if you said it at the end of the date and she said it back, and then she doesn't say I love you again, or if then it's like her turn, if she didn't say it then immediately, like that evening or the next day, maybe she's one of the people who just don't want to say it all that often, and then respect that. Just wait until she says it for the first time, because she did hear you say it, you said it the first time, so you expressed it to her. You don't have to say it again until she took initiative and told it to you out of the blue, and then you can just take it from there. So different people have a different pace how often they want to say I love you, and you got to be a little bit conscious of that. When in doubt, say it less, not more. Especially after you said it. And some Aspie guys are wrong there, where they say it once and say, okay, now she knows I love her, I don't ever have to say it again. No, you do have to affirm your love every now and then, and you have to watch your girl or woman, how often she needs that. But just saying I love you, I love you, I love you all the time does not make up for if you are very insensitive or inattentive to her needs. And if you ignore her most of the time and just do your video games, then all these I love yous don't make up for it. In fact, they make it kind of worse than when because she feels every time you say I love you, she'll be reminded, yeah, no, I don't really feel like he loves me. So that can actually then backfire. So super complicated. And I think I'll wrap it up here with that. Maybe one more quick tip, and that is Facebook and social media and stuff. Again, let her take the lead. Look at what her preferred pace is there. Like if she starts constantly liking and commenting on everything you do, then start liking and commenting on stuff that she does. But not out of the blue, you yourself start scanning her Facebook page all the time and start liking stuff and then going back in the past, which is really cringy. Don't go back in the past and start liking all kinds of past comments and entries that she made. So be very conscious of that. And be conscious of the fact that as an Aspie, you can't read body language well, you can't read social cues very well. So don't fall into the trap where just because you went on a few dates with this girl and things seem to be going well and she likes spending time with you, that you think that the relationship is rock solid and that it's ready for, again, big romantic gestures. Again, which you shouldn't do, but even like the smaller romantic gestures, even thinking about saying I love you, that you have to know that the relationship is really going strong before you get there. And with social media, that's important too, because if you've only been on a few dates with her and then you go and you start liking and commenting, and that is very visible to her friends, and then she might feel like, or her friends might say, well, who's this guy? I mean, you just went out like 2-3 times with him, and there he is, like constantly monitoring your page, and that might even push her in the other direction because it becomes almost creepy and obsessive, and you want to leave her space. And again, you don't know where the relationship is until it really progresses to physical intimacy and all that kind of stuff. So alright, but this video now has become again way too long, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope some of this was helpful. Again, every person, every relationship is different, and certainly a lot of things that I said might not apply to one person. Women have different levels of needs, and it's up to you to find out, and or maybe even directly ask if you have or if you're unsure. So with this, I'm going to wrap it up here, and I look forward to talking with you again really soon. Bye.